Either action means that the bank will find itself with $100 more in its reserves. Okay. And meanwhile, okay, because the Fed purchases $100 bonds from the bank, okay, the bank finds a reduction of $100, okay, of the bonds. So let's see the Fed's T account. And banks, the banking system. Okay, so first, the bank, okay, finds itself with a reduction of $100 in its bonds. Okay, so there is a $100 reduction in the bank's bonds. However, now it has $100 more in its reserves. Okay, so there is a $100 more in banking system's reserves. Okay, also that will reflect in an increase in reserves of the Fed. Okay, and don't forget the Fed purchases $100 bonds from the banking system. So now underneath its assets, okay, it finds itself with $100 more in bonds. Okay, so again, from the Fed's T account, underneath its liabilities, we have found, okay, additional $100 in reserves. Okay, so the monetary base, okay, again by definition, that's the summation of currency and reserves. Okay, when the Fed conducts a open market purchase from the bank, okay, we have seen a $100 increase in the banking system. Okay, that will increase the monetary base by $100. Okay. Okay, so that's the open market operation between the Fed and banking system. Okay. How about, okay, so we have introduced you the open market operation, okay, the Fed conducts with the bank. Also, the Fed can conduct the open market operation with a non-bank public, for example, a business or a household. Okay, so in that case, oh, can I erase the blackboard? Okay. We assume that the Fed purchases bonds of $100 from the person or from the business with a check of $100. Okay, then the person, okay, just deposit this check of $100 into his bank. Now we need to account for three people. Okay, the first is the Fed, the second one is the banking system, and the third is this person, and we call that non-bank public. Okay, so the Fed purchases bonds of $100 from the person. So this person will find itself, okay, with a reduction of $100 of bonds from his or her assets. But he or she receives a check of $100 from the Fed, and this person just deposits the check into the checking account. So underneath his or her assets, this person now has checkable deposits. Okay, additional $100 in this person's checkable deposits. So when this person deposits this check into the checking account, okay, now in the bank has $100 more in the checkable deposit. Okay, and because there is a inflow of funds, okay, in the banking system, also it finds itself with $100 more in reserves. Okay, and this $100 more in reserves in the banking system also, okay, will be reflected in the Fed's T account. Okay, then the Fed also finds itself with a $100 more in reserves. Also, it now has $100 more in bonds. Okay, so let's take a look at the Fed's liabilities. Okay, there is a $100 more in reserves, so the monetary base, okay, the summation of currency and reserves, okay, we have found an increase of $100 in reserves, okay, that will increase the monetary base by $100. Okay, so this is the first factor that affects monetary base.
So here, what we are saying is like if the Fed raise funds by selling maybe a bond to an individual or a bank, the money is actually going back to them at the end of the day.
Yeah, in that case, what you say what you are saying is that the bank conducts an open market sale. In that case, yes, the non-bank public will have $100 more in bonds. However, it has a reduction of $100 in checkable deposit. Okay, and then the bank has a reduction of $100 in reserves. Then its reserves, the reserves in Federal Reserve will decline. Decline by $100, and then we will see a decrease of $100 in monetary base.
An increase or decrease?
Decrease. In that case, if the Fed conducts an open market sale. In this case, that I write down on the blackboard is open market purchase. Open market purchase. Questions? Okay, now let's see if a person, a depositor, now decides to shift the deposit into currency, then what happens? Okay, so suppose that Jen, who opened a checking account of $100, now she decides to withdraw the $100 balance in cash. Okay, so what will happen to Jen's T account? Okay, so let's just begin with after her decision. So in this case, her checkable deposit will decline by $100. But she now withdraw $100 balance in cash. Okay, so she shifts the deposit into currency. Okay, after she withdrew the $100, okay, now she has $100 more in cash. But meanwhile, she has a decline of $100 in her checking account. Okay, so to the bank, the checkable deposit declines by $100. So the reserves, okay, decline by $100. Then the Fed has a $100 reduction in reserves. However, now in circulation we have seen $100 more in currency. Okay, so what happens to monetary base? Monetary base by definition is the summation of currency